Tennessee Titans fans, Jeffery Simmons has weighed in on what he thinks the Tennessee Titans should do with the first pick in the NFL draft. And boy, oh boy, some of you are really going to like what he had to say. Some of you, maybe not so much. Here's the clip of Jeff Simmons on, I believe, the Debo Samuel podcast.
One draft pick. What you think y'all need?
I'm gonna start on the defense side. I think we need another edge guy. That guy from Penn State, Abdul Carter.
Dog.
He's a dog.
He's a dog.
He's a dog. So I for sure think we need an edge.
You're a defensive guy. You say you need a DN.
I need an outside linebacker.
That's what we need.
Yeah.
All right. So a little awkward laughter there at the end, but there you go. Jeff Simmons says he wants the Titans to go edge rush. He wants the Titans to draft Abdul Carter. And that, to me, is kind of interesting, but at the same time, kind of not. It's not interesting in the way of, like, as they said at the end of the clip, Jeffery Simmons is a defensive tackle. Jeffery Simmons is a defensive guy. Jeffery Simmons wants the defense to be better. He's going to think about that first because he takes pride in that specifically, and particularly the defensive line, being able to get to the quarterback. So in some ways, it's not surprising at all that Jeffery Simmons would say, that he wants to go edge rush to make his life a little easier, to make the defensive front. I'm sure Jeffery Simmons watched what the Eagles did in the Super Bowl the other night and said, I want that. I want to be able to do that, because at one point, Jeffery Simmons was a part of a defensive front in Nashville that kind of could do that. The year they went to the playoffs, number one seed, him and Landry was at his peak. Danico Autry was playing really good football. Bud Dupree was playing the best football that he had played with the Tennessee Titans. They were a tough defensive front. Jeffery Simmons wants to get back to that. So on one hand, it's understandable he would want to draft Abdul Carter. But where I think it's interesting, to hear it straight from the mouth of somebody that's there and was on the team and knows, it's one thing for us as fans to say, oh, the Titans pass rush is lacking. The Titans rush from the outside is lacking. But to hear it straight from Jeffery Simmons' mouth, it kind of hits different. That confirms that Jeff Simmons knows what we've been doing is not good enough. We can't get to the passer. And, I'm not sure if Harold Landry and Arden Key will take exception to what he said. But you know what? I appreciate him saying, hey, we need edge rush. We need to be able to get to the quarterback. Did you watch the Super Bowl the other night? We need to be able to do what the Eagles did. We need to go get a guy. And it's also interesting to me that he called Abdul Carter a dog. He's, a glowing endorsement. No matter where Abdul Carter ends up, a glowing endorsement from Jeffery Simmons right there that says, hey, this guy is the real deal. This guy can come in here and light a fire under this defensive front. It's something to think about. And you also have to wonder how much weight does that opinion, that very public opinion from Jeffery Simmons, how much does that hold within the Tennessee Titans organization? Whether you like it or not, Jeffery Simmons is the star player for the Tennessee Titans at this time. There is nobody on this team that is more than, if you asked every other team in this league, who do you want on the Titans team? Who you can trade for any player from the Titans, who do you want? Most of those teams are going to take Jeffery Simmons. So when I look at Big Jeff and what he means to this organization and what he's getting paid by this organization, how much weight does his opinion hold? Is this something they're going to take into account? My guess is probably not. I think that certainly something they'll note that, hey, Jeffery Simmons, one of our star players, he wants to go get Abdul Carter. But I also think it's not going to be enough to change your mind if you are convinced that Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders needs to be the pick. Keep in mind, Mike Borgonzi is new. in town. He is the new GM. Chad Brinker is the new vice president of football matters or football relations or whatever. I don't think they're going to make any decisions in the draft just solely based on what a player on the team has said on a podcast. Okay, but I mean, it's probably something they would probably take note of. Like, hey, Jeff wants to draft Abdul Carter. It's just interesting to me. It's interesting to me, first of all, that Jeff Simmons, knowing the quarterback situation, that he would still say edge rush is where we need to go. Is that Jeff Simmons believing in Will Levis a little too much? I mean, remember that first game Will Levis played in his rookie year against Atlanta where he went off. The sideline clip of Jeff Simmons was him saying, I've been trying to tell y'all that man Will Levis can play. So we know Jeff Simmons, he likes Will Levis. He's a fan of Will Levis. So much so that it's clouding his judgment. Is he such a fan of Will Levis that he's saying, hey, we need to stick with Levis and we need to go get an edge rusher? I don't know. That's just a guess. But Jeffery Simmons has made it clear he wants the Titans to draft Abdul Carter. He thinks Abdul Carter is a dog, and he thinks Abdul Carter can help this team. It is certainly an option. It is certainly an option, and boy, oh boy, as we barrel toward this 2025 NFL draft, it's Valentine's Day today, so we are getting close to 2 months away from the NFL draft, and the conversation is going to rage on because a lot of people agree with Jeffery Simmons. A lot of people watched that Super Bowl and they watched what the Eagles did in that Super Bowl the other night, and they're walking away saying, hey, if you want to stop Mahomes, if you want to stop Josh Allen, if you want to stop Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels, insert name here, if you want to stop those guys, you need a defensive front that can dominate the game the way that the Eagles did in the Super Bowl the other night. And people are going to use that as an argument for drafting Abdul Carter. Whether you get him at 1 or whether you trade back and get him, people are going to make a strong argument for that, and it's valid. But there's going to be other arguments made. We've talked about them on the channel at length. Some people are going to say it's more important to go get the quarterback of the future. Just ask Washington. Just ask Houston. Just ask Denver how important it is to go get that quarterback who can come in and change the culture and turn things around, where you go from being one of the worst teams to being a playoff team, and in Washington's case, being in the NFC Championship game after you had the number 2 pick in the draft last year. It's, there's arguments to be made either way, but Jeff Simmons has weighed in. Jeff Simmons wants Abdul Carter to be the pick for the Tennessee Titans in the first round. What do you think? Do you agree with Jeff or nah? Talk to me in the comments below. God bless you. Tighten up. Bye.